welcome to Goody Tutus live on Wednesdays, where we talk about things, all different things.
Some fun things.
Yeah. Some serious things, some business things, some not. Some life things, some cake things, some cookie things.
Some nonsense things.
Yeah. Me? No?
Never.
Never. Never. Well, welcome. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday so far. Hi. Today, the topic of conversation is self-care. So, this is a big one for small business owners, particularly, in our world for cake people who work long hours and are trying to do this business hustle. Self-care is really important. So we're going to kind of just talk about our experience and hopefully encourage you guys to think about how you can take better care of yourself.
Yeah. I think it's good for moms in general too, and women.
Mm-hmm.
We always do tons of stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever heard a man say, "Man, I really need some self-care this week." I don't. When they usually, when they're ready to go to sleep, they lay down and go to sleep.
Yeah.
I think they just don't have the same issues that we have.
Yeah, so this message today is mostly for women. If you're a guy, you could watch it, I suppose, and get some tips on how to treat your lady.
You have trouble too. I don't know.
I'm
sure that there are some men that have trouble, but
yeah,
in general,
this is definitely something that women, moms, women who run businesses, we often will put everything ahead of taking care of ourselves. And so anyways, today we're going to try and keep it positive, but reminding ourselves of things that we need to do. And obviously we are not perfect at this. This is a reminder for us too. No, we are not experts. So since we're not experts, we figured we would share this information with you.
We're not gurus.
No. So we're going to try and share the things that we're learning just so that we can share and maybe...
we'll watch it back later when we need to listen to it.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll learn some things from ourselves. So anyways, you want to talk about the first thing?
Sure. So we were going to talk about the difference between taking care of yourself and pampering yourself. So, not that it's bad to pamper yourself. I think it's fun and good to go out and go shopping and get a pedicure or whatever, get a coffee, whatever you do to kind of pamper yourself. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference. We need to be taking care of our bodies and our minds and our spiritual life every day. You need something where you're calming down and thinking about just life and making sure that you're taking care of yourself over. So it's not just go shopping and spend a bunch of money. That's probably an unhealthy, that's an unhealthy pampering, not just self-care. So,
yeah. So, I think, one thing that we run into a lot, especially working in this cake business, is that we'll have weeks where we just work nonstop for days and days. Really long hours, sometimes 12, 14, 16, long. And especially, for us during wedding season, and we're kind of coming into that season, so this is the perfect time for us to remember that it takes effort to take care of yourself. It takes effort to want to make sure that you're eating healthy, because for me, that's the absolute first thing that goes when I get busy. Is I eat garbage, and then I start to feel like garbage. So
it doesn't help you keep your energy up. It
Right.
doesn't help you feel good. You'll start getting headaches, and if you're working a lot and you need to work a lot, then you kind of need to feed your body the best you can.
Yeah, and I get really, my biggest weakness, I don't know if anyone else does this, but my problem is I will just live off coffee, and I will have coffee probably for breakfast, lunch, and usually I'll try and throw some dinner in there, but oftentimes I only have coffee for 3/4 of the day.
Yeah, and by the time it's to the end of the day, or even half of the day, you're kind of, you're like, what am I doing now?
Yeah, and I start to lose mental focus, and I start to, I'll bend down, and then I'll come back up and get all lightheaded because I wasn't I didn't have enough to eat. So anyways, for me, that's my particular one, is I stop paying attention first to what I'm eating and live off coffee, which we all know, it's funny, all the shirts and all the sayings out there that have a million things to do with coffee. I love coffee. I love my peppermint mocha creamer. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Hashtag coffee mate. Not an ad.
That's funny.
But I know that I actually need to have some substantial things also, and not just drink 6 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah. So part of being able to eat healthy is probably making a plan. Some sort of, you need quick things you can grab that are healthy. You need, maybe on Sundays you prep some stuff so it's ready to go. And because if we don't have that ready, we definitely will grab something junk.
Yeah, and another thing too, obviously, is, eating right and exercising. I know everyone has heard this a million times, but we've heard it a million times because it's true. For us, Bonnie and I both go to the same gym because we live down the street from each other, and I think having someone who reminds you to do, go get some exercise. For us, we prefer yoga and like to take yoga together, which is always more fun when you're going with a friend.
Well, and yoga is a good thing because it's not super strenuous. So if you go to a heavy aerobic class, you might be sore and exhausted and you still have to work.
Yeah.
So yoga is really good for us too because it's a lot of stretching, and so it really helps our back, when we're standing all day or we're decorating cookies all day.
Yeah. Do we have any cookiers out there who get like the cookie neck?
My neck is always sore.
So
So yoga is really good because it's not going to take up too much energy that you're going to be left exhausted, but it's also going to give you a lot of stretching and help your back and neck not to hurt. So I think it's a real good in the middle.
Yeah, and then taking some time every day for a few minutes for yourself, to have like a daily downtime, whether it's doing, if you're a believer and you want to do a devotional, that's important to both of us. And we feel like when our spiritual life is being fed, it helps, spreads around to everything else in our lives. If not, find some time to be still and to just kind of let yourself be aware of the things going on around you, aware of how you're feeling, of what you're going through.
Just some downtime, some calming.
A non-screen time.
Yeah. And some people can do that. It just depends on where you are in life. I don't think I've ever been able to get up before my kids to do it, which some people do. I'm not willing to do 5 a.m. and my kids have always woke up really early. So, but they do, we homeschool, so maybe when they were little I had more trouble finding that time. As they've gotten older, we get school done in the day and then they can play video games at 3. So everybody's quiet at 3. And if I need to, then that's the perfect time for me. So I think
mine go to charter school, and for me, I find the best time is after everybody's in bed. All kids are in bed, and that's the time where I have a few minutes to kind of hang out by myself. So find some time for you every day. Take just a few minutes,
just a little bit,
just a few minutes.
Yeah, not a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay, and the other thing we want to talk about when we're talking about self-care is the big one, stop overthinking and comparing. So we are in a business where when you're an artist, you can't help but see other art and compare. Hopefully you can see other people's work and be inspired by it. But let's be real, like everyone, oftentimes I'll see a beautiful cake or some cookies that I have no idea how they did them, and it will stop and it will actually cause me to become self-conscious about what I do or compare and say I'm not as great as that person, and I will overthink it to the point where it just distracts me from my day, and distracts me from the truth about what I have to offer. The truth is there's so many people out there with so many different things to offer, and what I offer is different from everybody else.
Even different styles. Like you can see a style that you really like and be like, why can't I do that? Well, it's because your style is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different artistic expression, so you can't really compare it to someone else's and think you should be just like them. It's the same with, body types or whatever. Like, you were born with what you have, so make it work. You can't really change that,
Yeah. And as I also find that, oftentimes I will start to compare or kind of overthink where we are as a business and say, we're really working hard at this. We offer a great product. We have been doing this for years and years. How have we been doing this and only have this amount of followers, where someone who just started last week, they have 50,000 followers, and what are they doing different, and why is my business not doing what their business is doing? And that is something that I have to control, and I have to mentally stop those thoughts when I start to think and start to compare myself to everyone else, because the truth is there's sometimes not a reason why.
Well, and you don't know what we would do, just like in personal lives, when you think somebody looks like they're doing great, you really don't know.
No.
And you don't know where those followers came from or why they're there, or
Yeah. So definitely playing the comparison game is something that I struggle with. It's something that I have to keep in check and not let it take away from what we have achieved, because we've achieved a lot, and we're thankful for it, and we're thankful for people who tune in to our silly little Wednesday shows. We're thankful for people who like our pictures and comment on them and support us on social media and things like that. But it's also important to remember that that's not everything. It doesn't make our business better than anybody else's. It doesn't make our business less than anybody else's.
Well, and social media isn't the end all to everything. I mean, I feel like we've been doing this long enough that we've been around since before social media, and we still had a business, and we were still busy, and so it's one of those things that you just have to kind of let go. Like, it could go away, it would be okay, So
yeah, and little things like when I started in this cake world, I started by watching all of the shows on Food Network, and I was watching Cake Boss, and I was watching Food Network Challenge, and that's how I learned. And I remember thinking, someday I'm gonna get on a show and I'm gonna do it, and that was the epitome, the top of the I had made it moments,
which is still kind of a comparison.
Oh yeah,
because you were watching the show.
Oh yeah, and for sure. And I always had it in the back of my mind that someday I was going to do that. Well, we got to be on Sugar Rush, and it was fantastic. But there's the slight misconception that when you go on this show, all of a sudden you're going to be famous, and you're going to be having.
I think we're pretty famous amongst the 10-year-old girls.
Yeah, the 10-year-old girls are so sweet. All the girls who are writing us, and
so cute.
It's so precious. We love it. But the truth is, it was something really awesome that we got to do.
A good experience.
Yeah. Has it settled something in me that I have achieved the world now? No.
I feel pretty good about it. I'm happy with the experience and that we lived, made it through, and we're still alive. I mean, I like definitely looking back and saying that's something I did. That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's something that I'm just saying, you have to keep in mind that just because, it's good to have goals, it's good to think, but it's not okay to compare. And I have to stop that in myself, okay, if I could just get here, then I'll be good. If I could just be there, then I'll be good. If I could do this, then at that point I will have,
We all do it.
Yeah.
We do it in all parts of our life, and we just don't.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's just there and we don't think about it. We have to be aware of it to make it stop.
Yeah. So controlling your thoughts and controlling your thoughts about how you think about yourself and about others, about your work ethic, about what you have to offer. And that obviously in this particular instance, we're talking about business, but it's, your personal lives too.
It goes for everything. And I think you have to be aware of it so that you can stop it, so that you can change your thoughts. So if you have a negative thought about yourself or somebody else or your business, then you should think of how should I feel about this? You know, like actually change that thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the more you do it, the more of a habit it will become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something that was really big in my week last week. I noticed that for me, you know, going through a lot of personal things, and I was having these like nonstop conversations in my head. And you know, we work sometimes, you know, even though we're there in the room together, we're not always chatting. Sometimes we're both kind of lost in our own thoughts. And it was like hours later, and I was like, I've been having a conversation in my head with myself, and I've been winning this argument, and it did me no good. And it took me down a path that was making me, you know, have anxiety, and it wasn't positive. It wasn't being beneficial to my soul. So, you know, stopping those thoughts, controlling those thoughts, you know, I think applies to all people, no matter what, you know, where you are in life. It's definitely a self-discipline that when you are starting to feel like your mind is just going down a dark road, it's easier said than done, but it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder to try if your mind is going somewhere that's not good for you.
I think that's a good thing to take to your alone time too.
Mm-hmm.
Like write out those affirmative, positive things about whatever it is you're going through or whatever it is that you're thinking that you're trying to change. I find writing things down.
Mm-hmm.
For something about writing it down, puts it into your head, just makes it stronger, makes you think about it. Kind of like when you write down anything, you know, and you'll remember it better. So I feel like that's a good thing to take to your alone time.
Your alone time, yeah. Make a list, and then when you're having a really rough day,
read the list.
Keep it on your phone. Keep it somewhere close, and then when
some
you
people don't like to write.
Yeah,
type it up,
or you know, leave yourself little voice clips. I know Apple has like a cool voice clip thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, because we're all gonna have days where we doubt, where we compare ourselves to everybody else, where we think that our business is not as good, or we're not where we should be, and so just remind ourselves of the truth of, you know, the good things, the positive things, and
I think the whole thing is just being intentional. Like make intentional changes, be aware, and that includes just everything we talked about, from eating right to comparing yourself.
Yeah, and if you can, get someone to help you. So I got this girl right here who, you know, the truth is, has helped me for the last year. She's kind of picked me up off the ground more times than is fair in a friendship. But she's helped remind me, you know, to do the things I need to do to take care of myself. There's days where she's like, it's 4:00. Have you only had coffee today? And she's like, go eat some food. Because there are days where I can't. Like, I can't get there myself. So, you know, find a person that can help you. Maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a friend. Sometimes it's easier when it's a friend because they have a little bit of distance and you can accept the truth from them a little bit easier without getting hurt feelings. So.
It's just important to have people in your life that you trust. I feel we both have had different seasons of going through stuff, and to have the person there that, you know, loves you the most in the world and would do anything to help you, you know, to tell you the truth and tell you what you need to do and when to let go and when to eat some food.
Yeah, so take care of yourselves. We're working on that. Again, we have not reached the pinnacle of this.
It's a growth process.
We are not experts at this.
We're lifelong growth process.
We fail at this over and over and over. But I think, you know, as for us, as we head into wedding season and our other cake people out there, I think just remembering and being intentional, like Bonnie said, intentional about carving out time for yourself every day, carving out time to assess where you are.
Right. And I think, too, for us, that means that we don't, especially over the years, because we've been doing this for a while, don't overbook. You have to make sure that you put those things into your day and realize what you realistically can take on and not lose those things. Because that's important.
Yeah.
You could, and we've done it before. We have had all of those things go away, and the only thing we're doing is working. And what generally happens is burnout or getting sick, and then you don't have a choice. You're down.
Our work quality goes down.
Yes.
Because there's a point where you can't be creative anymore because you're just trying to function.
Yeah.
So for our clients' sake, we have made the choice, especially over these last couple of years, to step back, to be a little bit more picky about which things we choose to do, and remember that it's okay for us to say, I'm sorry, we can't help you with that, because we know we couldn't do it to the best of our ability.
Right.
And
it would just make our lives suffer, you know, and the lives of our loved ones. Like, they don't get to see us, they don't get our best, so it's just bad.
So I guess...
and it goes back into pricing.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could like wrap it up with saying it's okay to say no.
Right.
It's okay to not be able to do all the things. Mamas out there.
Yes.
It's okay to not be able to take your kids everywhere and do all the things and make all the meals. It's okay not to be able to do everything.
Even good things.
Yeah.
Even good things. Like you could be volunteering somewhere at, you know, your church or a soup kitchen or wherever. And if you're doing it too much, you aren't going to be at your best. So, I mean, because I know that especially volunteer opportunities, and for us, it would be like the donations that we take on for different things. Everybody wants a donation. Every week we could be doing donations. But we can't say yes to everything. We have to be a little more selective, I guess, on what we want, you know, what we take on. So we'd love to help everybody and donate to everybody, but we really can't. And it just, again, goes back to you have to be able to say no.
Yeah, say no. Take care of yourself.
Make yourself a priority. And that's not like putting yourself above anybody else or making yourself the most important person in the world. Because if you have a family, you know that that's not true.
That's not right.
That's not what we're saying. No. But definitely a priority in your week and your days. Make sure that you have that time. So,
all right,
I'm good.
We're good. So hopefully, I don't know, you guys. We're
just rambling.
We don't know anything. Basically, we know a couple tiny things, and mostly we like to remind ourselves as we're doing these. This is as much for you as it is for us. So, thanks for hopping on. Hope you guys have a good day. Good rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.